Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. Okay, I'm just getting my bearings. I feel a little rusty at this, even though it's only been a couple weeks that we took a little break on the podcast. And now getting back into things, it's almost like, how do I set this mic up again? I sort of forget. But I am so glad to be here. I am so excited about some new episodes we've got coming. And just the fact that you are each here choosing to take a little bit of time out of your day to dream, to think, to make your life better or more intentional or more thoughtful in some way. It's just the biggest gift I think you can ever give yourself, or just these like little moments of pause or reflection or learning or growing, just always knowing that we are evolving, right? By how we feed our minds, how we feed our bodies, the people and things we surround ourselves with, and just the kind of energy that we want to be around, and choosing things that really boost your energy, that really give you more life, like the life-giving things. That's really what it's about. I feel like, especially this time of year, there's so much commotion around the talk of New Year's resolutions and starting a brand new year, and it's a fresh start, maybe more so than how most people do it and how most people start the year, of thinking like, okay, what do I want to change? I'm going to change all these things about myself all at once. It's about as hard and fast as I can go, as much as I can do. Let's see how extreme I can take it, because then my results are going to be even better. And the energy I find this time of year that's actually more helpful and actually more life-giving is to take a little bit of a pause first before you jump in. There's so much excitement and energy, and I love it. I love the momentum. There's something definitely to be said about the momentum behind this time of year. And really the momentum and the energy that comes at the beginning of any new season, whether it's winter or spring or summer or fall. As I've talked about many times on this show, how every season has its own energy and its own unique gifts and its own things that it's here to show us or teach us or to help us enjoy, things that only can be done in that season itself. And it makes the whole year so much more enjoyable, and it makes it so much more interesting, and actually helps us grow so much more when we can take some quiet time and reflection time to yourself before you jump in hard with any action. Even if it's so good and it's so healthy for your body or healthy for your mind or healthy for your family or healthy for your kids, like even before you jump into that action piece, which I know can be so tempting, one of the best pieces of advice and one of my favorite ways to start the new year is actually going slow, taking almost the entire month of January to just rest and dream and think and let your brain just simmer in some things, and making sure that the things that you are deciding, the things that you are going for in your life that are either intentions or goals, you are really clear on the reasons behind it. Like not just the achievement itself of the goal or the thing, but the feeling that that thing is going to give you. Because that's really at the end of the day what we're after, is the feeling that we think that these things or accolades or achievements are going to get us. And if you can get really clear on the feeling that you want in your life, and this applies to any area of your life, like any of the major life buckets, the feeling that you want to have in your body, the feeling you want to have as a mother, the feeling you want to have in your marriage, the feeling you want to have as a creative person or creative projects that you're working on or volunteering or pouring your time into, that getting clear on like, what is the feeling that I'm going for behind anything that is a goal or a vision or something that I'm wanting to create for myself in this next year. And having some time in between, like the initial thought of like, here's what I want to do this year, here's who I want to be, to let it simmer, to make sure that it is actually aligned and you're not just going for things because you think that checking it off your list will make you feel different. Because really, it's about who you become when you can do things more steadily and consistently in your life. It's not about these flashes in a pan, like coming in hot to the new year and here's what you're going to do and here's what you're going to change, without any thought or time or attention to some of the foundational ways that if we're wanting to make change in our life, it requires going slower and steadier and thinking more about like consistency. And is this something that you can do over time? That you're not doing it in an extreme way and not doing it in a way that demands so much of you that it's not realistic to continue in that way or that pace or the way that you're going about it. But almost like the challenge to yourself is, how can I bite off smaller pieces of the thing that I'm actually going for? And what changes do I need to make? Maybe more at the foundation. And this is the part that I feel like most people don't, where they just want to bypass because it's so much easier to not think about these things. But one of the best pieces of advice I have for starting a year, and one of the things I love doing for myself, is starting to think through, okay, these are the things I want. I love the dreaming part. But what things might get in my way? And it usually has to do with our inner game, with our mindset, with our thoughts, with our belief, with the stories that we tell ourselves, with past experiences that we're still carrying into the future, of sitting down to also ask yourself in that simmering time, right? Of like, what things might get in my way of me achieving that thing or going for that thing or creating that thing in my life? What things might get in my way? How well do I know myself? And I know experiences that I've had in the past when I've tried to do something similar, but then it kind of fades pretty quickly, or I lose momentum. Then I get down on myself and I feel guilty and I feel a little bit of shame that I wasn't able to continue it at that crazy pace or the extreme that I was going. And it's something that really does help you when it comes to your overall growth, like knowing yourself more deeply. What are the ways that you sort of get in your own way? What are the things that you believe to be true that might not be true? They're just stories that you've created in your own head that actually keeps you from growing, keeps you from getting better, keeps you from going for and creating the things in your life that you really want to create. So just taking a minute, I think, aside from all the hype and the energy, like my Instagram feeds and my inbox is full of people going as hard as possible when it comes to the new year. And it makes my skin crawl. And I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, it's not even that it makes me frustrated. It actually just makes me sad, because I always look at those things like, people are trying to get better. They're trying to get healthier. They're trying to make their daily lives better, all of which is amazing and should be rewarded. But it makes me so sad that there is very little time or attention given to some of the more foundational pieces, like mindset, like limiting beliefs, like the things that have maybe gotten in the way of the person who you want to be. Like the future version of you and the version of you that you are becoming requires some quiet time. And when you know, and when you're aware that that's very much a part of the process, it's not a reason to stop. It's not a reason to let it get in the way. It's a reason that when you do see that pop up, because we all do at any point when we're trying to change anything, or when we're trying to get better at something or more consistent at something, we will have these voices of not enough, or that you're not doing it perfect enough, or the all or nothing voices where it's, if it's not this, then it doesn't count. All of those things get in the way of us actually showing up for ourselves in these small ways that matter so much every single day. But it's knowing that those voices are so normal. It's knowing that actually when you see them and when you hear them, that you can be encouraged to be like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm going for something that really does matter and that has kept me stuck before, because I thought that those voices were a reason to stop. I let them stop me. I listened to them. I fully let it control my experience, versus knowing from the get-go, even at a time like this, in the beginning of a new year, the beginning of a new season, planning for that, trying to think, what are the things that might get in my way? And then learning to expect them. That can change the game just on its own. Just knowing that It is so normal and part of the process and part of growing and part of changing and part of becoming the better future version of you. So it's a perfect time to be thinking about all of these things and like knowing that there is no rush, right? The false sense of urgency and the false sense of comparison of like everyone else is going at this pace. Everyone else has already done this. I'm behind, like at any point in this month, if you sit down and take an hour to yourself to ask yourself some deep and honest questions, what do you want? What's calling for you? What do you want to create? What do you want to do? What do you want to be more present for? What makes you feel the most joy in your life? What are the things that take away your life force or your energy or things that just don't feel worth the time engaging with anymore? Really taking a look at so many areas of your life is something that we've been talking about in the Insiders Club, which is my group that we meet twice a month live with each other. And we talk through things all about creating better energy and creating a better mindset and how much our mindset truly impacts the experience that we have in our daily life. Like nothing impacts our daily life more than the thoughts that we think, the stories that we tell, and the beliefs that we hold. So we need these reminders often, like so often, even if you are a very intentionally living person, even if you are already a very healthy person, like we need the reminders on our mindset work more often than anything else. The health part becomes easy, like the consistency in showing up for yourself becomes easy. It's the stuff that goes on internally that can really, really take us down if we're not aware on how to change those thoughts and change our energy and change our beliefs and change a lot of the limiting stories that we have been telling ourselves, keeping us small, keeping us stuck, keeping us safe from never doing anything new, never going beyond our comfort zone. Like all of it is so deeply tied together. So taking a minute at any point in this month, or maybe it's even next month, you rebel. What if you did this in February? The timing of it doesn't matter more so than you taking a little bit of time and space to like be honest with yourself, to dream and think bigger and like really think of like what means the most to you. Let's start there. Let's start with the internal. Let's start with the foundational pieces. Let's start with you keeping promises to yourself. It's something that I find that affects every part of our life. Because if we can be a person who is so honest with ourselves, we start to judge ourselves less. We start to encourage ourselves more. We have these weird perfectionistic standards that if it's not this, then it doesn't count. That kind of stuff really starts to fade away. The better partner that you are to your own self internally, like even in the thoughts in your own head that you let fly during the day versus anything else. So this time of year, one of my favorite questions, if you were to sit down exactly 1 year from today, you can even write a date at the top of your paper. You're pretending you're 1 year in the future. And if you're sitting down and saying, if this year was a total success, what does that look like? Or what did that mean that it was a total success? And just letting yourself see what comes out. Because part of something being a total success and being able to reflect like you're in the future, reflecting back will always require some element of these are the things I did. These are the things I created. These are the things I made time for. These are the things that are important to me. These are the things that give me life. These are the things that make me feel like I'm getting the most juice and joy out of my day. But then it also requires this sort of secondary question right after, which is what did you have to do differently than any other year or any other time? What did you have to do differently in order for it to be the biggest success? This is just one example. And in the Insiders Club, which we've been loving talking about this stuff even deeper and even more specifics of like all the questions that I ask myself and all of the conversations and things that tend to come up this time of year, especially as like maybe recovering perfectionists, people who have in the past been very enticed by the extremes and fresh new starts and goals and visions and executing and all action and all that kind of go energy without the connection to the deeper joy. Or doing it for the love of yourself, doing it for the joy, doing it for the devotion to yourself and to your life. Like it's such a different energy. And it's something that when you're able to see it from that perspective can really change everything. So in that group, we've been talking through some of these more specific questions. And It's amazing because everybody's experience is always a little bit different. And the things that they are working on or calling in are always a little bit different. But the underlying truths of what did it require of me is always a question of like, who did it require me to become in order to create, do, or have these things? Who did I have to be? What's the identity I had to step into? I had to become a person who blank. A person who does this, a person who doesn't do that, a person who makes the time for this, a person who keeps promises to themselves. I had to be the type of person who does this. And I think that is the key. Like that, more than anything else, is identifying that, getting truly honest with yourself. And then so much of these dreams and visions and goals start to become unlocked. So winter is the best time to do this. Winter is about going more internal. Winter is about not necessarily achievement and action and doing all of these things as quick as possible. Winter is about doing work on yourself, doing work on your mind, doing work on these foundational pieces that actually change the way that you show up in your life. It's about maybe doing more journaling or maybe joining something like the Insiders Club, really learning about your mindset, learning about how deeply it runs and how much it actually impacts the experience of your own day. It means getting curious about the beliefs that you carry and where did they come from? And is that something that you want to continue carrying? Or is it time to maybe create a new belief around the vision of where you're going and not just like where you've come from? Winter is the time of soup and cozy things and sitting by the fire. And I love it as a time to focus on my skincare, focus on getting to bed early, focus on more internal things. It's less social. There's less daylight. There's less hours in the day. It's about cooking and nourishing and refueling and just getting your mind right before we head in to the other seasons of the year where there's a little bit more action and there's momentum and there's energy. And if you feel that action and momentum now, great, go for it. I find that going through a process like this where I do take it a little bit slower and a little bit more intentional and a little bit more of that quiet space. I mean, granted, I'm a mom of 3 young kids, but finding those little pockets of time for myself to think a little bit bigger than just the daily to-dos, it changes how the rest of the year plays out. It changes what I choose to focus my time and my energy on, focusing it more on things that give me life and less on the things that drain it and take it away. It really helps me change my mind in moments where it feels like I am holding so much mentally, or just growing my resilience, growing my capacity, growing the amount that I can handle and handle well, where it doesn't feel like it's drowning me. It feels like, okay, I've got this. Like I'm building that self-trust and that strength. It's not about what anybody else is doing. It's not about where they're at on their journey. It's getting quiet and taking this time to figure out where you want to go. And it might not be huge, drastic changes. I know for me that in this time of my life, and because I have been doing this for so long, the things that I come up with that I want to be focused on or want to call more into my life are small. It's like a different energy or a different mindset around something, or it's deciding that I want more of something in my life and then creating it for myself. Sometimes it's really small changes or shifts in how you're seeing things, shifts in how you're talking to yourself about the same daily life stuff that you've had for the past year and that will be for the next year. It's like, but can you change your experience of it? Because oftentimes it's just a choice. So I would encourage you really, like, no matter where you're at and what kind of energy feels good for you, if you're one of those amazing people who is ready to go for it. But also check in on the quieter side and the more intentional side and the things that might get in the way, and that sort of inner game mindset work too. The foundation that will help you get and achieve all the things that you want to do, but do so in a way that actually lasts. And if you're someone who feels like, okay, I'm getting my breath and my kids just went back to school and my Christmas tree is still up, let's just take a minute and find a few pockets of time where we can do this in small ways. It does not have to be hours long, but even 1 hour. Could you find an hour on the weekend to go to a coffee shop or a time when your kids are out of the house? Could pay so many dividends into the rest of your season, let alone the rest of your year, if you're willing to do it a slightly different way than how most people are doing it these days. and just take that for a test run this year and see how it works. I hope that no matter where you are, you're at least doing something for yourself to get your mind right, get your vibe right, get clear on where you're going, what you're doing, and the way that you're wanting to feel in your life. Because I think that more than anything else can just change so much of how we do everything in our lives. I am sending you so much love. I'm so excited to share a little bit more about my own process and the things that I have realized and starting to do, the reflections I've had over the past year, and the things that I'm wanting to call and create and focus more on, even in work and even with Simply Real Health. There are a lot of things I think doing this in my own process always creates different visions and different opportunities and new things that I'm excited about each and every year. So I'm excited to share a little bit more of that too once I go through it myself. As with anything, sharing the things that I actually do and that I actually love and feel like they make the biggest difference for me, in hopes that they will be things that also make a really big difference for you. I love you so much, and we'll see you back here soon.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.